Hello, Captains. I'm going to make this short and sweet today. I am an idiot. This is a response video to the last video I published, number 48 in this series. This is number 49 video. I am referring to the previous video, number 48, part 48 that I published, called Coalition or Spiral Wave Disruptors. In that video, I posted a poll asking your feedback and opinions on what type of a weapon I should go with on this character, excuse me, this character, which is my Reman character, a tactical career Reman on the Romulan faction, going to be mostly flying escorts. And I asked what type of disruptors should I go with. I had a poll in that video. I have since disabled that poll, and the results were heavily leaned toward spiral weapons at that time. Spiral weapons. But I have found out, thanks to your feedback in the text, that there is a lot more of specific type of energy weapons than I could have ever imagined. I mean, I guess my head is still stuck in the old days where there just weren't that many variants of anything. You had disruptors and maybe one or two variants of that. Well, Cryptic has just gone off the wall in terms of specific disruptor and any energy type of weapon, basically, and created these hybrids where there's just so many other type of procs, you could say, or modifiers attached to these weapons. And my mind is just opened up to how many disruptor type weapons there actually are available. Of course, I already knew about the Terran disruptor stuff. I already have a Terran build, in fact, where I have all Terran weaponry, or the Terran reputation, I should say, on that character. So I've already got one of those. And I also am familiar with the Nausicaan disruptor stuff. However, I've not used any of the Nausicaan. And then I have now found out there's even more disruptor stuff I had no idea about. There are sensor-linked disruptor weapons. That's right, sensor-linked. There's also integrity-linked, and one more. What was it? Sensor, integrity, and emitter. That's it. Sensor, integrity, and emitter linked weapons. So these new sensor, emitter, and integrity linked weapons are not real new to me. I knew of their existence because of the Discovery ship. I had one of those, and it had like all of those weapons on it. But it was phaser energy, and I didn't realize that the sensor, integrity, and emitter linked stuff can go for other energy types as well. So yeah, there is sensor, integrity, and emitter disruptor out there as well. So I'm going to broaden the poll in this video, simple as that. I'm going to open up the poll and give some more options. And I have been reading your comments and feedback, and it's because of your comments and feedback that I'm making this new poll and opening it up to you guys to help me decide what to use on this character, because apparently I'm maybe getting a little too worked up over specifically which type of disruptor to use, because when it comes down to it, there is a very small nuance between the coalition disruptors, the sensor-linked disruptor, and then the spiral wave disruptor. There is a general consensus that the spiral wave has a little bit more pure DPS, if that's what I was after. But we're talking like under a 2% advantage otherwise. So it's a very small. I read a Reddit post about this, and somebody did the math, and it was like 1.48% or something greater. That kind of a small difference, I'm not worried about. I don't care about a difference that small. While I do want DPS, I'm not after being you know, the DPS hog here. I don't need to have the absolute best DPS. I just need to have a system that works really well. So I'm not concerned about those small 1 or 2% differences. So when it comes down to it at the end of the day, whether I go Coalition, Spiral Wave, or this SensorLinked Disruptor, a lot of people are saying the SensorLinked is a good one. Whether I go either of those, I'll still have a good experience. So it's just minor nuanced stuff between each one. But let's take a look at the SensorLinked one real quick, because we're going to add that to the poll, and I'm going to have a new poll in this video. So if we go to ship equipment, and we go to ship ship weapons, and if we go, look at this, SensorLinked Disruptor. There we go. We've got cannons, of course. We got everything, dual beam banks and beam arrays, and I would want dual heavy cannons. The problem with this is obviously they are real expensive to buy this stuff from the exchange. Although, so I would have to come up with the energy credits to do it. But I could do it. It would just take a little bit of time to get there. But as you can see, sensor-linked disruptors are a thing. And you guys were saying I should consider these as well. And here's why. I was reading it. Sensor-linked weapons provide a passive boost to starship weapon amplification and starship defense maneuvering. Two things that as an escort or tactical career character would be very beneficial. You get a +5 starship defense maneuvering. This skill improves your starship's defense rating value. And of course, the higher your defense, the harder you're to hit. So I said I was going to be an escort. Some people were like, picked up on that. Some of that starship defense maneuvering from these weapons could be beneficial. And then the weapon amplification is actually more critical severity, or crit D. This skill increases the damage caused when landing a critical hit. This is not crit chance, it's just crit D. So I'm guessing what you guys were saying with the sensor linked is because of that heightened critical severity, I could re-engineer all of the weapons to be all crit D, like crit D times 3 or 4 or whatever it is. And then on top of that, I will get this other buff, this other proc that will hit called Starship Weapon Amplification, increasing the crit damage even more by +5, meaning my critical hits will be really strong. That has a good chance of being very powerful. Plus, I get that extra little defense maneuvering as well. But really, at the end of the day, when you compare the Spiral Wave to the Sensor Linked to the Coalition, it's really just preference from what I'm reading, because the differences are just so small. It's like it really almost comes down to what color do you like best. I mean, literally, people were asking that in the comments. What color do you like best? So I know that the Coalitions fire more of a bluish color. According to this, it looks like the sensor linked here are going to be more greenish. And then I'm guessing the Spiral Wave is more yellowish. So which color do I like best on the ship? You know, I don't know. It doesn't really, color does matter. I like color. I like good colors, but I really do want to pick the right build. But here's the thing. I guess I really can't go wrong with any of these three. I can't go wrong. It's like I'm not going to have a terrible build because I chose one of the over the other. All of these are high-end equipment. All of them are going to lead to a high-end experience in terms of doing damage, whether that's with critical hits or just flat-out damage. Either way, I'm going to be doing good amounts of damage with one of these things. So I am going to open up a new poll. Vote, let me know, should I go only with Coalition disruptors on this build? Should I go only with Spiral Wave disruptors? Should I go only with Sensor Linked Disruptor? Or should I have a combination of two of those three, or a combination of three of those, meaning all three of them, but in a combination? Now, typically, I wouldn't really want to do that. I wouldn't want to mix them up so much, because then you start losing the advantage of those procs, and you do want it to proc as much as possible and get the advantage from that specific weapon type. So I probably would shy away from doing like a combination of all three, although I would consider a combination of two if that's best. And I'm also taking into consideration the Nausicaan Disruptor stuff, which I don't have yet and don't have access to yet, and maybe a Terran Disruptor thing or whatever if it's beneficial to the build. So I don't know yet because I don't have access to those yet on this character, but I also guess that, you know, whichever way I go, I can always change it in the future if I don't like it. So that's one thing to consider as well. I may end up just trying out all three anyway. But because I opened up the first poll and there was a heavy lean towards Spiral Wave, I mean real heavy, like half and half, and like most people wanted me to use Spiral Wave. Because there was that poll, and because I have found out now about other things like these SensorLinked disruptors and other things that exist, now I'm going to widen that poll. Give me your feedback and let me know what you think. I kind of want to let user feedback direct the direction of this character. I want this to be more of your character than my character, even though it's my character. I kind of want you to help me direct him as we are at, nearing in-game level with him as far as the level goes. Of course, we have a lot of missions left to go, but as far as level goes, we're nearing that in-game level, and I'm getting to the point where I can start, filling out his final build and start, putting all the resources toward upgrading that gear. Because once I select the right gear, then I have to upgrade it in mark level and rarity. And so that's why I really want to pick a good solid foundation now and then go all in on upgrading it. So I'm going to widen this poll. Ignore the poll from the previous video. Do watch the previous video if you haven't seen it, but ignore that poll. It should be disabled by now, and instead vote in this poll. So here's a second chance to rethink your answer or not, and let me know what you think. And then in the next video I will come back and let you all know the results and what I decided to use. And again, I am leaning toward going with the mainstream vote on this. So again, do you want me to use Coalition only, Spiral Wave only, SensorLinked Disruptor only, or maybe a combo of the two, or a combo of all three of them? And of course, when I get to the Nausicaan stuff, I will take a look at what I can include from that. I'm not quite sure what you all are talking about yet in terms of what's available with the Nausicaan stuff. Like, I think there's a console that's available there. I'm not sure about the ship weapons though, but I know there's something Nausicaan related that I'll be getting to that will help. I'm just not there yet. So anyway, that's the deal. That's the poll. I apologize for the previous video and not being more informative about it. I just simply was not even aware that they had these sensor linked, integrity linked, and emitter linked stuff for the different weapon types. I thought it was only with phasers, but now I see that it's with all the other energy types too, I guess. So that is new. I guess all this stuff came with Victory is Life. I'm not really sure, or maybe before that. But yeah, this sensor and integrity emitter stuff is new for me, so I'm trying to learn it all. But yeah, new stuff there. And thank you all for the feedback. You see how I read it and I can directly respond to it. And you all do help me shape and work a better character, and I really appreciate it. And I guess, whichever way I end up going, don't get your panties in a wad if I don't choose the one you want. Apparently, the differences are so minor between each one anyway that I really can't go wrong. I'm still going to have a good experience. Okay, so there you go. I look forward to your feedback in this new video and poll. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for the next one.